This is the continuation of the period of Japanese literature. Ancient literature is already discussed, so let's proceed to the classical literature, medieval literature, and the early modern literature. Classical literature, known as the golden era of art and literature, it is the foundation of the city of Heian-kyo, and the Tale of Genji, considered as the preeminent masterpiece of the Heian fiction in the form of a novel by Murasaki Shikibu. Murasaki Shikibu was the author of Genji Monogatari. The author's real name is unknown. She conjectured that she acquired the sobriquet of Murasaki from the name of the heroine of her novel, and the name of Shikibu reflects her father's position at the Bureau of Rights. She was born into a lesson branch of the noble and highly influential Fujiwara family. The Tale of Genji was absorbing introduction to the culture of the aristocracy in early Heian Japan. Its forms of entertainment, its manner of dress, its daily life, and its moral code. This era is exquisitely recreated through the story of Genji, the handsome, sensitive, gifted courtier, an excellent lover, and a worthy friend. The Tale of Genji was a great masterpiece of the Japanese literature by Murasaki Shikibu, and generally considered the world's first novel in the 11th century. The Tale of Genji captures the image of a unique society of ultra-refined and elegant aristocrats whose indispensable accomplishments were still in poetry, music, calligraphy, and courtship. Much of it is concerned with the loves of Prince Genji and the different women in his life, all of whom are exquisitely delineated. Here are some Japanese masterpieces from the Tale of Genji. Dish in the shape of a princess. It is famous for crafting Japan's most refined porcelain during the Edo period, or they call it arikita. A tray with scene from the Tale of Genji. Shiki is a style of Japanese lacquerware that can be traced back thousands of years. The incense box. This is a handcrafted kobako. Their purpose is to store the materials used in kodo, the 8 views of the Tale of Genji in the floating world. These pictures depict various scenes from the book, such as the spirit of summoner and the thin veil of clouds. The imperial cards. This motif was used here in the depiction of imperial cards, which were used by Kyoto nobility during the Heian period. The No costume. This particular Edo period robe was made for a No performance. The 54 scenes from the Tale of Genji. This screen depicts every single scene from the Tale of Genji was created. And the No costume, this explains the detail and decoration of this No costume. The hand scrolls. Kaiho Yusetsu, son of master ink painter Kaiho Yusho, was an Edo period painter descended from a samurai lineage. A writing box with a warbler in plum tree. This particular writing box was created during the 18th century in the Edo period. There are other important works in this period: the Kokin Wakashu, the Pillow Book, and the Iroha. Kokin Wakashu was the first anthology of poems collected by imperial command. The Chinese preface of poem was written by Kinoyoshi Moshi. and the Japanese preface was written by Tsurayuki. Another masterpiece of the Heian period that should be mentioned with Genji Monogatari. Sei Shonagon, who wrote this masterpiece, a Japanese critics have often distinguished the weir of Genji Monogatari and the Okashi of Makura no Soshi. Aware means sensitivity to the tragic implications of a moment or gesture. Okashi, the comic overtones of perhaps the same moments or gesture. Shonagon served as a lady-in-waiting in court, and she has interesting characteristics. And lastly, the Eroha. Originally, the poem was attributed to the founder of the Shingon esoteric sect of Buddhism in Japan, Kukai. This is a Japanese poem, famous poem for being a perfect pangram. Medieval literature, this was marked by the strong influence of Zen Buddhism, and many writers were priests, travelers, or ascetic people. It has a representative work in the year 1371, an epic account of the struggle between the Minamoto and Taira clans. There are other notable genres in this period: the Renga, link verse, and the No theater. The tale of the hike. This was characterized by an increasing tendency among scholars to assimilate it to an earlier type of court literature, which was by their being identified as the authentic and pure. The history of the end of 12th century and its people thoroughly overwhelms us with its revolutionary dynamic power and verisimilitude. It is an epic account of the struggle between Minamoto and Taira. There are also notable genres in this period: the Renga, a Japanese link verse poetry in which two or more poets supplied alternating sections of a poem. It begins as the composition of a single tanka, a traditional five-line poem. The No theater. It is also spelled as No. This is a traditional Japanese theatrical form and one of the oldest extant theatrical forms in the world. The early modern literature. It introduces English readers to an unprecedented range of prose fiction. The Tokugawa period was the final period of traditional Japan. It is also known as the Edo period. Kabuki, traditional Japanese popular drama with singing and dancing. Jorori, the Japanese literature and music. Bunraku, Japanese traditional puppet theater. The Tokugawa period, also called Edo period. The tea ceremony which had been adopted by every class during the Momoyama period, provided the medium in which literary and artistic traditions of the past were assimilated and transformed by highly cultivated by the both of bourgeois and the court. The Tokugawa period, also called Edo period. The tea ceremony which had been adopted by every class during the Momoyama period, provided the medium in which literary and artistic traditions of the past were assimilated and transformed by highly cultivated by the both of bourgeois and the court. Kabuki. It is a traditional Japanese popular drama with singing and dancing performance in a highly stylized manner. The Jururi. This is a type of chanted recitative that came to be used as a script in bunraku puppet drama. The bunraku. It is a Japanese traditional puppet theater in which half-sized dolls act out a chanted dramatic narrative called Jururi to the accompaniment of a small samisen, a three-string Japanese lute.